It's a wild world out there, but some worlds are even wilder. Hi, my name is Tyler Hapney, and you're listening to Dungeons and Dystopias. Thank you for listening. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Dungeons and Dystopias. I'm your game master and host, Tyler Hapney. I've run hundreds of sessions of Cyberpunk RED and Dungeons and Dragons, and this podcast is a way for me to reconcile my thoughts on both of those systems. Today, unlike what I promised last episode, we are in fact going to be looking at Cyberpunk, yes, but not at the new Night City map, which is, as I found out, not coming out for another few weeks. So, hey, what are we going to cover today? Well, it turns out there was actually a DLC released on the day my last episode went live. Shortly after my last episode went live, actually. So I completely missed it. And I wasn't able to cover it last episode, but I'd love to cover it this episode. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the new Cyberpunk RED DLC for April Fool's Day, Cyberpunk RED X Fossilized Violence. Now, what kind of DLC do you think Cyberpunk RED could come up with for April Fools? I mean, there's a lot, right? But let's talk about fossilized violence here. What does fossilized violence mean? Well, fossilized violence is a TTRPG. It's not a concept. I guess it is, but it is an actual game designed by Cyberpunk RED designer James Hutt. It is, in fact, coming from R. Talsorian, same people who made Cyberpunk RED and Shadowscar and all that. In Fossilized Violence, as it reads here, you play as a caveman fighting evolving dinosaurs. This is a funny one. They literally say, break out your toy dinos and toss them on the table for the game. That's funny. I don't have any toy dinos. I might have a long time ago, but, you know, this TTRPG might give you an excuse to go out and buy some toy dinos. You know, feels fun. But yeah, it is, I mean, yeah, come on. It's like, it's Cyberpunk, but with dinosaurs, kind of. I don't know. It says here that compared to Cyberpunk RED, it has 1,350% more critical injury tables. So that means you're going to get injured a lot by these dinosaurs. It's going to be bad. But, hey, before Fossilized Violence comes out, we have a little sneak peek at what some of these monsters might be able to do. Also, for what it's worth, if you do get this DLC, on that first page, they do have the Fossilized Violence Quick Start available for download. So, honestly, if you're into some dinosaur TTRPG stuff, I'd give it a try. I've never tried Fossilized Violence, but it's R. Talsorian. So, generally, they're pretty alright. Pretty good at what they do. Alright. So, we gotta talk about super criticals and critical injuries, because we get a whole new host of critical injuries with this this little DLC here. So, fossilized criticals should not be inflicted by modern humans during typical gameplay, unless the GM wants them to be more like Cayman-like. But yeah, no, it seems like these are supposed to be like some very primal, violent critical injuries, unlike what you would usually come up with in Cyberpunk RED. Certain dinosaurs characters score fossilized critical injuries whenever 3 or more dice rolled for the damage from melee attack come up 6. Which is interesting because, as I recall, I do believe that is the same thing as the Night City Tarot system. And it does mention here, if you're also using the Night City Tarot subsystem, you'll want to draw a card for the first 666 critical injury of a game session, no matter the source, and roll on the fossilized critical injury table for any further 666 damage rolls that come from melee attacks. So, if you're rolling Night City Tarot, you use the tarot for the first roll, and then any further ones after that, you get these fossilized critical injuries. They're fossilized super criticals. But yeah, these things are tough, man. We have a list from 2 to 12, so about 10 options. Deft dismemberment. Choose one of the victim's arms or legs to sever. The limb is dismembered as per the relevant body critical injury. So obviously we've got dismemberment. Collapsed chest gives you a -3 to move. It increases your base death save penalty by 2, which is huge. Rattle brain. Aim shots to your head multiply the damage against your SP by 3 instead of 2. Here's a fun one. Melee attacks made against you cause critical injuries with less than 6 than usual. Shows up on the damage dice. So that means you can get hit with a critical injury with a 555, which is very, very rough. Fractured frame. Cannot make aim shots or dodge attacks and increase your death save penalty by 2. Break body. Choose one of the victim's arms or legs to break. The limb is dismembered. Escalate. Roll on the super fossilized criticals. That's right. We got a whole other table of even worse injuries to get into here. Tear ligaments. -1 to move, ref, and dex. And of course, base death save penalties increased by 2. Shock system. Next turn, you cannot take a move action. Whenever you move further than 4 meters on foot on a turn, you cannot take a move action on your next turn. So it's like even worse damaged ears. Next turn, you cannot take an action. This is gaping wound. Next turn, you cannot take an action, but you can still take a move action. -2 to move. Base death save penalty by 2. Base death save penalties increased by 2. Caved clavicles. -2 reflexes, -2 dex. Jagged wound. Next turn, you cannot take an action or a move action. You cannot dodge attacks. So you can just, all you can do is sit there and get hurt. All right. What about the super criticals, though? What about the really bad stuff? Well, guess what? We've got 10 of those as well. Rampage. For the rest of combat, the attacker gains an additional turn at the top of the initiative queue. If Rampage is rolled a second time, reroll. So this seems to be like the criticals. These empower the dinosaurs or the person who's doing the attack. Sundering. For the rest of the combat, whenever one of the attackers attacks, including this one, the one, that you're critically near, with a blade armor, the armor is bladed by an additional 4 stopping power. So yeah, that's right. With each attack, you're removing 5 stopping power per attack. Maybe even 6 if you've got armor, well, actually, probably not 6. I don't know. Maybe unless you've got like that Arasaka sword that you can put the acid on, that makes your you get the idea. It makes your SP lowering. You can get it high. You can get it pretty high. 6 per turn is insane. Absolutely insane. But of course, that also does require you to get 3 6s. So it's a little rough to activate. Mighty. For the rest of the combat, the attacker's melee attacks deal 1d6 additional damage, which is really good. Like, imagine if we had a heavy melee weapon with a rate of fire of 2 and typical damage of 3d6. Well, now it's rate of fire 2 with damage of 4d6, which is really good. There are some high-level weapons that mimic that effect. Determined. The attacker gains 15 HP. For the rest of combat, the attacker's armor cannot be ablated. Oh my god. That is crazy. I mean, 15 HP plus just armor is fine. It's gonna make a lot of difference. I mean, all of these are gonna make a lot of difference. Mutilating. For the rest of combat, the penalty for aim shots made by the attacker is reduced to -3. If mutilating is rolled a second time, reroll. So yeah, I mean, -3 for aim shots is crazy. It means you're basically going to be hitting most of your aim shots unless your enemies are dodging, which if you critically injure them bad enough, they might not be able to do. So, end of the day, all of these have been pretty great. Mutilating is awesome. We've got Annihilate, misspelled, by the way. Roll twice on this table until you get 2 non-annihilate outcomes, then choose which effect to adopt. So that's cool. You get 2 options, and you get to choose one. Neat. Bloody. For the rest of combat, all characters dodging the character's melee attacks do so with a -3 penalty. So yeah, now it's making them harder for them to dodge your stuff. And that's pretty great. Accurate. For the rest of combat, aim shots made by the attack deal 2d6 additional damage, which could be a lot of damage to someone's head. Or just in general. I mean, 2d6 extra damage is crazy, especially if you're using like an assault rifle or a shotgun. That's 76 damage, which is, better than a grenade, not as good as a rocket. But still, it's pretty great. Punishing. For the rest of the combat, the attacker may take an extra action the first time they deal damage to an enemy each round, which is really good. So that basically means you get 2 turns, provided you're actually able to deal damage to somebody. Some turns you're not able to, but yeah, provided that you are able to do that, you will now have many attacks per turn and be much more threatening. Invigorated. For the rest of the combat, the attacker may choose their preferred entry when rolling on a critical injury table instead of rolling, and their attacks cause critical injury when even a single damage rolled results in a 6. Oh my god, what a way to give out critical injuries. If you just get a single 6, not only do you get a critical injury, but you get to choose which critical injury. That's awesome. I mean, I have a feeling most people who activate this are going immediately for spinal injury, followed by maybe a dismembered limb or two. Who knows? Empowered. The attacker takes another turn immediately after this one. During that turn, they roll a d20 instead of a d10 when making an attack check. So basically, they're definitely going to hit. I don't know, unless they roll really badly on the d20, but a d20 instead of a d10 in a system like Cyberpunk RED is extremely powerful. I mean, come on. If you roll a 20, that explodes into, as I assume, another 20. And I can get up pretty high. So, wow. We've already got a lot of options in terms of critical injuries, but I haven't even talked about some of the stat blocks they've given us for this DLC. A lot of them, you might be able to guess, come from the hardened tree of things, which means they are a tough fight. Very tough, in fact, because some of these stats are crazy. Let's talk about an Allosaurus. It's literally the first option here with an HP of 65 and a death save of 15, which means its body is 15. This thing has a rate of fire to chomp attack that deals 46, and a rate of fire to brawling attack that deals 46. Now, of course, it's important to mention that a chomp attack is a melee attack, I believe, which means it would have stopping power, while a brawling attack does not have stopping power. However, they do have a higher chance to hit with a brawling attack. So, it's really up to you. They have abilities. You cannot disarm their chomp. You can't take their teeth out, as one might guess. Once per round, an Allosaurus may choose to roll a d20, which is great. And then Primal Speed. And an Allosaurus takes an additional turn at the end of each round. Wow, this thing is tough. Like, legitimately. This thing is going to be giving your party a real problem. Because it's got pretty decent armor, too. 9 on the head and 11 on the body. That's great. Yeah, they did make a... They do make a comment here on the DLC. Yes, this introduces D20s to Cyberpunk RED gameplay. We know you own a few. Don't worry, we won't tell anyone. Love it. Beautiful. Ankylosaurus is pretty similar, only they have a tail attack that is combat number 14 and deals 5d6 damage. Which, of course, since that is a melee attack, would be having stopping power as well. There aren't many melee weapons you can get that are 5d6. So just that fact alone is pretty good. It has armor 13, and it has primal protection, which means it's immune to the effects of non-mortal wound states. And, fun fact, its SP cannot be ablated, which means it's staying 13 on the head and 15 on the hide the whole fight. Which is gonna last a while. That's gonna be hard for a lot of people. And once again, this is also 65 HP with 14 body. There's the we'll skip over this one. It's not too great. We'll go to the I've gone through a dinosaur class before, guys, but some of these were names. Therizinosaurus. Not necessarily the greatest in terms of the stuff here. This is a mini boss. But we do have the fact that they have primal speed as well, which means they can take an additional turn at the end of each round. And with these guys, they have... their claw attacks are rate of fire 3. That's what is the difference. Okay. So they can make 6 attacks in a turn, or I guess in a round. And it's 3d6. So, I mean, generally, that's going to be a lot of damage. If you hit all of them, that's a blading stopping power by 6. And it's 3d6 per attack, which is like, I don't know, it's an even better heavy melee weapon. This thing only has stopping power of 8, so at the very least, you should be able to obliterate it with a shotgun if you shoot it in the face. Yeah, gonna be great. Obviously, we've got our last two big guys here before I get into our metaphorical monsters of the week. We're gonna be talking about the Triceratops, which, if you don't know what a Triceratops is, what are you doing? HP 70, death save 15, 15 stopping power on the head, 10 on the body. It comes with a horn attack, rate of fire 1, but it deals 66 damage. And of course, just like the other ones, a brawling attack as well. It also has Primal Might, which means once per round, it can choose to roll a d20 whenever they would roll a d10. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. This is a mini boss, but it makes sense because this thing is pretty tough. And you cannot shoot it in the face and kill it in one shot, probably, with a shotgun. It seems like the stopping power of 15 would really put a damper on that. So maybe aim for the body. Utah Raptor or Utahraptor. I mean, it's the Utah Raptor. That's what it's spelled. It's literally spelled Utah. These things are hardened mooks, which means that they don't have much, to be honest with you. They've got a claw attack, a brawling attack, stopping power 9, 35 HP, and their claws cannot be disarmed. That's the Utah Raptor. Yeah, generally, what we're seeing here is, I mean, there's some mechanical changes here that they've made that could be interesting to put on non-dinosaurs. Like, for instance, something like Primal Speed or Primal Might could be very interesting to put on maybe like a super, full Borg kind of character or something crazy. Somebody who's got a little bit more, spice in them. I don't know. It's my opinion. I personally will probably use these at some point. I don't know what. Probably for some crazy mission where I just throw them at my players without any warning. That tends to be kind of the way I like to do things sometimes. So I think it'll be interesting just to have a mission where things are suddenly interrupted by an actual dinosaur that maybe, Biotechnica created, or something. All right, let's get to our metaphorical monster of the week. And today I want to talk about Meryl, Asukaga, and Finch. Ooh, a company that, believe it or not, isn't really important in Cyberpunk RED. I'm gonna be dead ass with you, man. You don't really hear too much about Asukaga and Finch, or I guess at this point in time, Meryl, Asukaga, and Finch. By 2077, they have dropped the Meryl name from the list. And what does Meryl, Asukaga, and Finch do? Well, they are an exclusive investment and financial counseling firm, which means they're all in charge of money and investments and crazy stuff like that. And sure, yes, Meryl, Asukaga, and Finch may have been briefly or mostly involved in a certain corporate war, but that's not important. What is important is Meryl, Asukaga, and Finch. They are at the center of a lot of the money that is moving around either in Night City or the world, rather. They have many offices in Night City. It is, once again, still Meryl, Asukaga, and Finch by 2045. But by 2077, and I don't know quite exactly have necessarily a reason why this happened. But they dropped Meryl from the name, and it just became Asukaga and Finch by 2077. So, what are we talking about, these guys? Well, like I said, they're heavily involved in a lot of sort of corporate conflicts throughout the years. They personally have been centered on some conflicts with, some accounts that they were in charge of being the target of many different corporations and people trying to get a hold of things. Generally, this company is really good to throw in your game if you're looking for somebody who has a lot of money. An investment firm, believe it or not, in Cyberpunk can make a very compelling villain. I mean, think about it. These are people that they're an uncaring corporate entity whose entire existence is just to make money. And that could mean investing in so many different things that you could very easily create a large web-like conspiracy of, hey, this investment firm is funding all of these different groups And obviously they're making money out of it, but they're treating it like a business. Like they don't even care if they're funding, the iron sites and they go and bomb a yacht or something. It's as long as it's making money. That's kind of the whole core of Cyberpunk, isn't it? It's like, hey, whatever. Either way, if you're looking for some money-hungry, crazy investment firm villains, Meryl, Asukaga, and Finch, I personally think would be a great idea. As for now, though, that is going to be the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Next week, we are going to be talking a little bit more about Dungeons & Dragons. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that Night City source book, and once it drops, I will, of course, be getting it and relaying to you some of the wonderful information within. As for now, I'm Tyler Hapney, and this has been Dungeons & Dystopias. Thank you so much for listening.